Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of The Power of the Dog by Thomas Savage. In Montana in 1925, bachelor brothers Phil and George Burbank run the family ranch together after their parents retired to Salt Lake City. Phil is an incredibly gifted man who is talented in all aspects of his life and is highly educated but chooses to live as a rough rancher. George is his less notable younger brother. While driving their cattle into the small town of Beach, Phil meets the widow Rose Garden, a local businesswoman and hotelier whose doctor husband had committed suicide. He offends Rose by making a cruel comment towards her teenage son Peter, calling him a sissy. When George goes to pay the bill, he finds Rose weeping and he begins to visit her to make amends. Hearing of this, Phil writes to his mother, hoping to break the two up. Instead, George announces they have secretly wed. Rose soon moves into the ranch house with George, and Phil takes an instant dislike to her, believing her to be a cunning gold digger. He does all he can to make life unpleasant for Rose, who senses Phil's subtle anonymity and struggles to adjust to her new life. Peter joins a boarding school in a nearby town. He is brought out to the Burbank ranch during summer break. He approves of his mother's relationship with George, but immediately finds himself antagonized by Phil after he accidentally stumbles across Phil naked in a private pond he uses for bathing. Rose secretly begins to drink to cope with blinding headaches she begins to develop because of the tense living situation between her and Phil, and forms a habit of stealing from George's liquor cabinet. When she makes a final attempt to make peace with Phil by asking him why he dislikes her, he reveals that he knows about her drinking. The confrontation is overheard by Peter. After Phil witnesses Peter being humiliated by the fellow ranchers but choosing to ignore their jeers, he decides to take Peter under his wing in order to pry him away from Rose, scheming in the hope that George will eventually divorce her. Phil, however, unwittingly becomes enthralled by Peter and becomes the habit to admire his confidence and curiosity. After Rose sells Burbank hides without permission, Phil becomes enraged with her as he had planned to use the hides to braid a rope for Peter. Peter offers to Phil to use a hide he has saved in order to finish the work, and Phil is overcome by the gesture, privately admitting to himself that he is sexually attracted to Peter, an attraction he had felt only once before with his mentor Bronco Henry. Shortly after, Phil falls ill and dies. Strangely, the Burbank family becomes more closely knit after this. Rose stops drinking and invites George's parents to visit the ranch for Christmas. Peter is elated that his mother is happy at last and reflects that this was always meant to be, as his father's suicide and his own action of giving Phil a hide tainted with anthrax, which has paved the way for her to be content. And this is really shocking to the readers because only now they realize that it was Peter who was the cause for his father's death, and all that he had done only to see his mother being happy. And here ends the story. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.